Hey everyone, just three small notes before we get into today's episode. The first one is that we had a little difficulty getting a good internet connection during this interview. And if you're watching on YouTube right now, you'll see that my dad is moving from his garage to the house to try to get a better connection. And we thought that it was okay, but in fact, when I played back the episode, I noticed that there were a few spots, maybe five or six, where the audio lags for a second. So I apologize about that. And the second thing, also related to that, is that this was my first time doing an interview. And when I plugged in the webcam, I didn't realize that my webcam kind of overrode my microphone. And so, unfortunately, the audio was caught through my webcam. And I considered re recording the episode, but it was such a nice conversation that I had with my dad. And so I decided to just use the one that we had. But unfortunately, I sound a little bit echoey. So I'm very sorry about that. Fortunately, I'm not talking too much in this episode. It's mostly my dad. But I apologize for the echo, and lesson learned. Next time, I'll be sure to confirm that I'm recording with my actual microphone and not the webcam. And the last thing is that just a little content advisory. There is a bit of alcohol consumption and the mention of alcohol at the beginning of this episode. So if that's something that you want to skip past, if you're trying to avoid content that contains anything with alcohol, just skip past the intro. And at the 6 minutes and 30 seconds or 7 minute mark, you'll be safely past all of that. So, all right. I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode. I had a lot of fun recording this with my dad. And so here it is. Enjoy.
Sorry.
That was a challenge.
It's always like that.
What the hell? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's like that.
And then I spilled my bourbon.
Oh no.
I got a double chin.
No, you don't. My gosh, you're just looking down. It's okay. All right.
Wow. That was challenging. I don't think I've had that much challenge all day. You're gonna have a drink now? I'm ready.
Yeah, well, we can do that. First, let's introduce you to the podcast listeners.
Okay.
Thomas Konen, welcome to the Fascinations podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining.
It's been a challenge to get here. God's sakes.
That's okay. So you're having the Thomas Konen drink of choice. Can you tell us about it?
I am. It's actually called the Tom Bomb.
The Tom Bomb.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so the trick is to have a shot of bourbon and a beer, and then you take a swig out of the beer.
Okay.
And then you graciously pour the bourbon into the beer, like so, and hopefully not spill too much of it.
Yeah.
It's a shame if you do. And then you got to put your thumb over the bottle.
Okay.
And then you got to turn it upside down to mix it. And then, because it's shaken, it's now become a bomb.
Okay. Nice.
It's actually a nice mix.
There you go.
It's like shaking a bottle of beer, but yeah.
All right.
So
excellent.
The Tom Bomb.
The Tom Bomb. I love it.
It works with any bourbon and any beer. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a favorite bourbon you recommend to the listeners?
I started drinking Knob Creek probably, 15 years ago. Right. And only because Knob Creek is 100 proof.
Okay.
I figured if I'm going to drink, I might as well get bang for the buck.
There you go.
But no, I really like Knob Creek. Yeah. I really like them. Brian, your brother-in-law has me trying all kinds of different bourbons and stuff like that. But I still go back to my Knob Creek.
Well, that's right. It's always good to go back to a
It's
classic.
got a nice bite, and yeah, it's a classic high-strength bourbon that works very well.
Sounds good. Right. I'm having the signature mandolin. This is a mandolin cocktail. I made it up. It's a tonic water with ginger beer and like some lime juice with gin. If I'm feeling extra motivated, I'll really grate the ginger in there, but usually it's just a ginger beer. So cheers. Welcome to the podcast. Cheers.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being our very first guest. Very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
My pleasure. If you want to turn this into a Christmas drink, you throw a cinnamon stick in there.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Man. Then it becomes a Christmas drink.
It's festive.
Man, I'm good like that.
Perfect.
Yeah. We'll try that when you come home.
That sounds good. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been there, so it'll be quite an adventure. Yeah, more than 2 years. Sorry, my stomach's just growled. So
right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got a niece you got to meet, and you got a nephew you got to meet.
I know, it's wild. You have a future son-in-law to meet.
I do, and I'm excited. I've met Jeremy on computer, of course, but I'm very anxious to get face to face with him.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Yeah.
He's a fun guy.
Like a very, very nice young man. Yeah. And he'll fit in with the other two knuckleheads. So
exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have some extra special questions for you today as the first interviewee of the Fascinations podcast. Yeah. So the first question is, tell us what it was like to grow up in Michigan in like the 1970s. What was it like?
Are you kidding me? Growing up, so Chris, right, born in 62, and we moved out of Detroit 76. So growing up in Detroit, you got up in the morning, at least I did, right? And I think I can speak for most of the kids. We had a predominantly Italian neighborhood, and everybody knew everybody, and the neighbors had never had a problem smacking you around if you got out of line or you drove on their grass with your bike. You could literally get up in the morning at 6 o'clock, and grandma would tell you, be home before the street lights come on. And that was it. Didn't worry about, breakfast, lunch, whatever. And we'd get on our bikes and go. And we were gone all day. It was great. I worked for Bob the Milkman, Twin Pines Milk. I think that was my first job. I was probably 10 years old.
Yeah.
And when we were off of school, I'd meet up with Bob the Milkman, and I was his runner. Okay. He drove an old-time milk truck, and he paid me $5 for 8 hours work, and I was his runner.
Oh.
And we'd go house to house, and I would run the milk from the milk truck to the milk chute and back.
There you go.
And he'd go to the next house, and I'd run, and I'd run, and I'd run.
It's pretty good exercise.
And then Saturdays were a big treat because we went to Sam and Walters for lunch. And at Sam and Walters, I could have a donut and a coffee. And
awesome. Wait, you're 10?
Yeah. Yeah. Grandma didn't think nothing of it. Whatever, he's gone. Right. Yeah. I was basically 10 years old. And
drinking
I would
coffee.
get up. Yeah. 6 well. Right. So, I mean, growing up with grandma's family, the Shimateros, we were drinking coffee when we were 7 years old. You go to grandma's and give them some coffee. Right. We didn't have pop or soda. We had coffee.
Right.
And, yeah. Throw a little bit of cream and sugar in there, and we were wound up for the day.
Yeah, that sounds like a horrible thing to give kids.
Oh, between that and a couple of half a dozen Oreo cookies that you dunked in your coffee, and you were good to go.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But growing up in Detroit was fantastic. It
Yeah.
really was. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Well, that sounds
yeah.
good.
Had a lot of fun times, and we played pickup baseball in any field you could, and we broke windows and ran like hell, and yeah.
Right.
Christmas Eve at Grandma's house, you had all of Grandma's siblings,
Mm-hmm.
plus their spouses, plus their kids. You had probably just immediate family, 65 people packed in that house.
That just blows my mind because I had 15 people here to cook for, and I spent like 2 solid days cooking. And I didn't have
Yeah.
that much food. Like I didn't have that many dishes. I know I didn't have as many as Grandma has. I have no idea how they did that.
All the men would sit upstairs at the kitchen table playing cards, and all the women, and I mean all of them, would be working the upstairs kitchen and the downstairs kitchen.
That explains it. Okay.
And the guys never got off their asses to help. Never. And they'd be the first ones to grumble. Where's the pizza with the anchovies?
Oh my gosh. I could just
It
hear
was fantastic, though. You know what? It's honestly, that's one of my big regrets is that you kids never got the chance to experience such a huge family.
Mhm.
I mean, I know, Christmas Eves we'd have, right, all of your mother's family over here, but nothing, nothing like what we experienced on Christmas Eve over there.
Right.
All the cousins, we'd all get together and go out, and we'd go door to door singing Christmas carols.
That's awesome.
Right? And we did, all of us. And there was probably 15 of us, 20 of us, right?
That's
Can't
crazy.
count right now, but man, we'd go door to door, and we actually made some pretty good money, right?
Yeah.
People, we'd get out there and sing, yeah. And unbeknownst to us, Uncle Gap, why don't you kids go sing Christmas carols, right? He just wanted us to get the hell out of the house, right? There were too many kids around for his good, so hey, that's a good idea. And we'd come around, and then of course he'd want a cut of the money. Oh, I told you to go do it. You got to give me nobody.
So, for anyone who's wondering, this is my great uncle Gap, who's my dad's uncle. But we have a small and very funny story about Uncle Gap and his socks.
Oh yeah. Uncle Gap came back from World War II. He was a parachuter in World War II, and never did he was young when he went to war. Of course, everybody was when they went right to World War II.
Right.
And he started dating this gal, and he went over there one day and took off his shoes, and I think he had holes in his socks. And the gal started giving him a hard time about having socks with holes in them.
Yeah.
And he just kind of shrugged his shoulders, got up, put his shoes on, and left, and never went back. The hell with it. She don't like the socks that I got on.
Not only did he not go back and see that woman again, but he just never dated and never got married.
Nope. After that, he never dated and never got married. Ever. Ever, ever.
And he just lived with Aunt Francie, who I thought was his wife, but was actually his older sister until I was like 10. Right. Aunt Francie, the whole gang.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole gang.
The whole gang, all 14 of Grandma's brothers and sisters.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
What a clan that was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Aunt Francie, because there was so many kids in Grandma's family, Aunt Francie was responsible, right? From a
Yeah.
hierarchy, she was, right? There was Grandma, of course, and then Aunt Francie, but Aunt Francie made sure the youngest of the young got up, did their stuff, right? Grandma took care of a certain amount, Aunt Francie took care of a certain amount, and Jean, on and on and on.
Right.
So,
Until the baby,
yeah,
which was your mom, my
yep,
grandma.
yeah,
Wild,
yeah.
wild times.
And then when Grandpa and Grandma lost their house in the Depression, so they had all those kids, lost their house. They moved in with Grandpa's cousin because
Okay.
Grandpa worked at a stove factory making stoves.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the Depression, everybody lost their jobs. The stove factory went out of business. And then they finally, after things started picking up, Grandpa worked at a maintenance for Chandler Park.
Okay.
And he was digging ditches and doing stuff like that. And they finally made enough money to afford a house. And then the older kids would get jobs and stuff like that. But every kid that had a job had to bring their paycheck home and give it to Grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
And Grandpa would cash their check, give them $5 a week until the house was paid off.
Wow,
And
that's
then
wild.
nobody could move out. Nobody could do anything until the house was paid off. That's how I understood it. We'll have to fact check that.
Okay, for
Christmas
Christmas.
time, we'll get on that. That'll give us something to talk about.
Okay, well, that sounds good. I mean, the podcast will already be aired by then, but it's fine.
Yeah,
We can
sorry.
always make corrections. I'll do a Christmas with the Conans episode, and I can make corrections if needed.
All right, the relatives get a hold of that. That's full of shit. You didn't do that. You know, right?
Okay, well, we'll just put a disclaimer that we
Right.
were drinking when we were doing this episode, so
So,
facts to be taken with a grain of salt.
indeed.
Do you have like a specific favorite childhood memory?
Oh, just getting on my bike and riding my bike.
Yeah.
I had a Schwinn Stingray
Mm-hmm.
that was green with a banana seat. You get on that bike and you just go. I had a little radio I'd strapped to the handlebars
Yeah,
and turn the radio on, and we listen to whatever was on the radio and just ride around.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Go see your friends and go up to the five and dime store or the penny candy store, and
Mhm.
man, do I sound old.
No. That kind of sounds like when me and Megan and Lauren were little, we would ride our bikes all around the neighborhood.
Yeah, yeah,
So go to 7-Eleven, get a Slurpee.
yeah. I talked Grandpa into taking me up to a lawnmower store,
Mm-hmm.
and he let me buy a 5-horse Briggs and Stratton motor that I strapped to my bicycle, and I wore out more tennis shoes than you could shake a stick at because it didn't have brakes. So we welded on brackets on the bike and put this 5-horse Briggs and Stratton on there with another rim, bent the rear forks out, put a rim on there. That thing would go like a bat out of hell. We'd get chased by the cops because we were riding that thing around the streets, and I'd come home, have barely any tennis shoe soles left.
Oh my
But
God.
had a lot of fun with that thing till it got stolen.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh,
parked it on the side, and come out one day and it was gone, and that was the end of that.
oh man. So yeah, you told us like I wanted to know compared to your best memory of your childhood, what is your best memory of our childhood, like me and Megan and Lauren's?
Ah, oh my God! Just watching your kids grow up. All right,
Yeah.
kids playing in the backyard, having a lot of fun and right, tried to create an environment for you kids to do whatever you could do whenever you wanted to do it, right? And I mean, through work, I worked a lot, so luckily your mother was able to stay home with you kids, and she made sure you were very well occupied. So yeah,
we did. We were outside a lot. I think, yeah.
Yeah, you did. We didn't let you kids spend a lot of time in front of the TV or video games or anything like that. Get outside, go play.
Yeah,
right?
I remember
Made the
that.
swing sets in the back, and you kids spent a lot of time outside in a stony creek, and your mother kept you very well occupied. So it was a good thing, and out of trouble. So.
Yeah.
She never had to say, "Wait till your father gets home."
No, generally, I don't think so.
Yep, exactly. Too much.
Talking about how we always played outside, and I always ended up with some like really interesting injuries. So I wanted to hear about I wanted to hear about the Thomas Konen philosophy of medicine.
You mean about the time you broke your thumb off of the slide? And I said, "Don't worry about it. Just walk it off."
No, but I do have. If anyone is watching the video, I do have an extremely weird thumb that doesn't bend. I don't have a knuckle in my one thumb, but not that one, but like the one above my lip, or like when I fell on your bike, and poured Sprite on it.
Yeah. Yeah, back then we didn't worry too much about hauling you off to the doctor or the hospital. We just bandage you up and send you on your way. Suck it up, kid.
I have the scars to prove it.
And you're no worse for the wear. It gives you something to talk about.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone loves an injury story, and everyone loves that story of when I fell off my bike onto your bike while you were in the Ace Hardware getting us something to drink. You came out of the Ace Hardware and I was just bleeding all down my leg. I was like 10 or something, about like something like that. And you're like, oh shit. And you start to pour the soda all down my leg. And then we had to ride our bikes home because there was no cell phones back then. So yeah.
I think we had a Pepsi or something. I just poured Pepsi on it and let
Sprite.
the fizz Sprite.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't remember what it was, but cleaned it up good enough and wiped it off, and away you went.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good gash too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I still have the scar on my knee. It was like I fell right on the spokes of the gears of your bicycle. So it was a good one. And this one above my lip, this sideways scar, just put my head over the sink and the hydrogen peroxide, like close your mouth and hydrogen peroxide, and then a butterfly band-aid.
Yep. So you're right back up.
Yeah. Well,
we don't need to go to don't need no stinking doctor. I got this. Nah, you're no worse for the wear.
No, I survived. Right? I survived. Yeah.
I looked at it this way. If I saw muscle, I figured I'd better get you to the doctor. If I didn't see muscle, I didn't worry about it.
All right, fair enough. It's definitely affected the way that I handle kitchen injuries, because anytime I get a kitchen injury, I'm just like, and I'm usually bleeding. Like I'll be bleeding pretty bad, and I'll just put a Band-Aid on it and go to the Thomas Konen philosophy of medicine.
Right. That's right.
And you get a cool story to go with it.
Yeah, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
And if it is slightly broken, you just slightly fix it.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah.
That saying goes along with a lot of things.
Yeah. You have a lot of good sayings, actually. So the best one, of course, the most famous one in our family is "My life is moments for you."
Yep. Yes, it is. Guy just wouldn't get the hell out of my way.
Yeah, you want to tell us about that?
And I remember exactly where that was too, right? Waiting to make a left-hand turn, and this guy just would not go right in front of us. Come on, for God's sakes. And madder than hell, my life is nothing but moments for you, man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's
Yeah.
yeah. We had a
I
lot of
like
good.
singing.
Yeah, you
I
have a
like
lot of good
singing.
ones.
Yeah. I got hollered at work one time. Jung Hoon came from Korea to spend 3, 4 months at
Mhm.
GM. I was using slang words and right sayings, and he went back to the office and started using them. And who told you that? Oh, Tom Konen told me that. And I got hollered at. Don't you tell? You're not supposed to tell him stuff like that. Who cares?
Oh my God.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's plenty enough sayings to go around.
it's true.
That's for sure.
You were talking about Korea, and so when you went to Korea, what were some of the things that you enjoyed there when you came to visit?
Oh, you know what? I never being out of the country, right?
Mhm.
And I never would have had it not been for you, right? We lived in Michigan, up
Mhm.
until, I mean, how old were you when you went to Korea?
21.
So for the last 45 years, right, grew up in Michigan, Ford never got out of this area
Mhm.
to go to Korea and see, right, Seoul and Busan. And I was just amazed that you could go to one side of the country or one side of like Busan, go to one
Mhm.
side and see how it was in 1940 and go to the other
Mhm.
side. And it's like, right, way
2040.
advanced.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
visiting the future.
But yeah, honestly, the best thing to me was the street food.
It
Right?
is the best thing.
Yeah. Love love the street food. Never had street food. And right, I always talk about right those egg and whatever those things were that they made.
Gerampang.
Um,
It's the Korean.
yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
pancake style cornbread. It's almost like cornbread with a hard-boiled egg in the middle.
with a hard boiled, fantastic.
Yeah.
And they make them, and you eat them as quick as, and they were inexpensive. I think you
Hmm.
paid for a buck and a half or something for that.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
But the most exciting was the chicken feet, the
Yeah,
spicy chicken feet.
I was gonna ask you about that
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
at the market in
yeah.
Seoul, the
Never
traditional market.
that one guy was selling spicy chicken feet. I
Mhm.
thought, the hell, I'm gonna try it. Right?
Yeah,
And interesting, spicy,
yeah.
crunchy, but they were
Hmm.
chicken feet,
Yeah,
literally chicken feet. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
The woman that was selling them, she was so excited to have you try them.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was
Nice big bowl of chicken feet. The food was just fantastic,
yeah.
out of this world.
I know Korean food really
Yeah,
is something on the next
yeah.
level. I forced you to
Well,
go to a few different places. I forced you to Cambodia and I forced you over to
oh,
Vietnam. So
there was no force there. Are you kidding me? Cambodia, and that's what I say, right? Who would have? I would have never. As I sit here today and thinking back, even when you kids were in high school, Cambodia. The hell want
right.
to go to Cambodia, Vietnam? Are you out of your mind? But wow, what an adventure,
Yeah.
right? Cambodia was just fantastic. The countryside, the food, the
Mhm.
travel. Cambodia, fantastic. Vietnam was very cool.
It was a good time in Vietnam and Cambodia. It was quite
It
a trip.
was,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
good.
was quite a trip, right?
Yeah.
To the countryside and to see the culture,
Hmm.
and all in all, it was an amazing trip,
Yeah,
amazing trip, and I would do them again in a heartbeat,
me too.
right? The and I still have that picture hanging in my bathroom when we went to oh, I can't think of it now. What was it where we saw the sunrise
Oh, at Angkor Wat.
in Cambodia?
Angkor Wat.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Beautiful. Man. I
It's
mean, to
crazy.
imagine the history that you're right and
I know.
hundreds of years. Yeah.
Hmm. It's so
So
wild.
very,
It's
very
yeah,
cool.
So where is
Eh,
one more place that you'd like to visit in this current, like the decade of the 2020s? Where do you want to visit?
Actually, I want to get over to where you're at. I'm really interested in seeing Europe, Italy, Austria, Germany,
Hmm.
right? That whole neck of the woods. Never been there. I mean, that's very interested in getting over to the European side of the world.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's cool. It's a
Yeah.
whole different, it's like I brought you to Korea and to Cambodia and Vietnam and had a little experience there. And now I'm gonna entice you over to Europe. We'll have to get mom to come
Yeah,
along.
that's easy to do. I think that's where you got your desire to see other cultures, and I find that fascinating. I really
Yeah,
do. Always
it's the
have,
Fascination
right?
Podcast. Yay!
Yeah, yeah, there you go, right? I've always found it extremely interesting to understand how other countries, how other people live, and the
The other
differences
foods,
are just amazing. Yeah,
the other foods that you got to try all the
yeah,
foods.
right. The food, right? The way the society works, the social interaction with other people,
Hmm.
and I mean, we'll go back to Korea for a second, right? I'll never ever forget, right? You remember we were on that bus,
Yeah.
and right here I am. I mean, what was I? Maybe 50, right?
Hmm.
And right, big guy, and here's that wonderful little Korean woman, and
Yeah.
she's offering me her seat. And I'm like, you
Yeah.
got to be kidding me, man, right? And
Mhm.
and then you get on the subways and to see young people get off of their backside and offer their seats to the elderly.
Mhm.
I mean, how fantastic is that, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's,
It's nice to see those things like when you go to
yeah,
places and you see how different situations are handled in different ways. It's really nice. And also
yeah,
on the other side to see
that's
how like some situations are handled the exact same way all over the world. And like just people are people
right.
no matter wherever you go. That's like one of the really cool
Yeah,
things too.
yeah. My biggest wish and desire is that I could understand all the languages like you do, right? And and even though I signed up for French,
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
right, on whatever that was, Babel, right?
Hmm.
Well,
Hmm.
I got to get on there and practice some more.
That's all
But
right. You have a few weeks before Jeremy gets there.
yeah, yeah, the few words that I know of are dangerous.
Well, that's what Jeremy taught you them, so
Yeah, I know he did. Yeah, bless his
so
heart.
yeah, but
But
that's why.
it was always extremely impressive to see you communicate in Korean like it was nothing, like it was English.
I
You
don't know
know,
if
it's
I
just,
don't know if that's still possible.
no,
I feel like
I'm telling you, man, to be able to go to other countries and speak their language and interact and things like that. Wow. Yeah. I don't have the gears to do what you do,
no,
right?
that's
To
not
be able
true.
to learn other languages. I wish I did.
No, but that's all right. I mean, you can do a ton of things that like you restored a car from the tires up.
Yeah,
You fixed every kind
yeah,
of plumbing and
yeah.
electrical thing in our house. That's
Seeing
good.
things like that always came very natural to me, very
Hmm.
easy to do,
That's
simple.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because I can't.
Although I can't bend over as much as I used to, and can't do a lot of that, right? But I still like doing them. It's all
That's
right.
good. Yeah, for
A few
the
more swear words here and there, but yeah.
for the construction upstairs, Jeremy's going to do the electrical himself, and I feel so bad that I won't be able to really help him. I'll just be handing him the tools, like here you go, because yeah, I can't really do any of that stuff, even after helping you all the time when you did it.
Well, and that's just it. I don't know how, right? In Europe, I think electrical is different than it is in the States, but At the end of the day, it's a lot of common sense. That's all.
Sure, that
Right.
sounds like a lot of accidents waiting to happen, but
Just make sure the power is off. That's all.
yeah, okay.
Won't end up with frizzy hair.
Got that anyway. So yeah,
That's okay.
let me look at my list of questions. I made like a whole little list here. We've covered almost all of them, but yeah, the one thing that we haven't covered yet is the pranks that I've pulled on you and the New Orleans story. So which one do you want to talk about first?
God, the New Orleans story. Ay, ay, ay.
That's
I
the
think I'm
Konen
still
classic.
paying for that.
Yeah. So speaking of travel, we were traveling to New Orleans. Mom said it was when I was like 15 or something like that, and Megan and Lauren were 13, maybe. I thought
Yeah,
it
I
was
was
earlier,
thinking.
but anyway.
Yeah, I'm thinking it was a little bit earlier. You guys were younger, I think, but
Yeah.
yeah, we had driven. I want to say we drove from Pennsylvania to New Orleans.
So about how many hours would that be?
Oh, geez. I think it was Pennsylvania, but I'll bet you we drove at least 8 or 9 hours, right? Straight through, stopped, got gas, kept right on going.
Right.
And we had made reservations at an older hotel right in New Orleans, right on Main Street, and lucky to get it because it was maybe a week before Mardi Gras,
Okay.
right, that they had there.
Mm-hmm.
So we pull in and they had an underground park, got your kids out of the car, got all the luggage, got the room, got up, and I told your mother, I don't want to sit around, right? It was I think it was like maybe noonish or 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let's go walk around. We'll go walk around Main Street. So you kids didn't want, you were tired, you just wanted to watch TV or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, lock the door. Don't answer the door for nobody but us, no matter what. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And don't leave the room. And,
Right.
Amanda, you're in charge. Right.
Dangerous.
So, yeah. So away we go. And we walked around for maybe an hour and a half and went back and being an old Victorian, it was like an old Victorian hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And they only had, it was all old style stuff. It was all key and lock, right? So
nothing electronic.
bang on the door. Yeah. And we had left the key with you in case you had to go somewhere or do something. And there was the hotel only gave you one key.
Mm-hmm.
So we went back to the hotel, banging on the door, and no answer. Banging and banging and banging, no answer. No TV on, nothing. What the hell? Why aren't they answering the door? Go down to the lobby and tell them, right, we need another key to get in the room. The kids aren't answering the door. And I said, well, there is no other key. There's only one key and you have it.
Which is crazy.
Of course, you had it. Yeah, right. When you think about it. And it was a the key was huge. Man, that thing was probably a 1 inch by 2. It was a real giant old key.
Like a skeleton key.
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger. But so anyways, they called up to the room. The phone rang and rang and rang. No answer, no answer. What the hell's going on? So the guy said, well, we can go in the room next door and look in through the balcony, through the window, and see if they're in there. So we go in the other room, look in the balcony, and there, all three of you are laying on the bed. Now to back up a little bit, it had just started getting cold. So we had turned the heat on in the room because you guys were cold, and we left. And I don't remember if it was gas heat, electric heat, but banging on the back window and nothing. Banging and banging and banging, nothing. Wouldn't answer for nothing. And now your mother was starting to get really worried, and so was I.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back out to the door and banging on the door, and your mother looks at me and, I don't care what you got to do, but you get in that room right now. So
Yeah, because she
here it
thought maybe
goes.
there was a carbon monoxide poisoning
She
from the
thought it was
heater.
carbon monoxide
Mm-hmm.
from, yeah, from the heater.
Yeah.
So here we go, 1, 2, 3. So at the end of the day, I think it took 2 kicks, and I ended up kicking that door in, and I ripped the door off of the frame and collapsed the whole frame, and and split the door in half and go. It's easy to laugh about now, but we were really, oh my God, because even after that, you kids didn't even wake up. Run
So
over to the
scary.
bed and shake you, and you
Mm-hmm.
woke up.
Oh my
What?
God.
What? What the hell? Oh my God. Right? And by that time, your sisters are up, and why didn't you hear? You didn't hear the phone, the door, the banging. You guys were out cold. You were so tired and so deep in sleep, you never
Mm-hmm.
came to.
Oh my God. That would have been
So
really scary.
it was really scary. So now I turn back and I look at this door that's ripped off the hinges. I look at the frame that's ripped off the hinges. And I look at the manager, and he's like, "You own this." I'm like, oh, man. So we ended up taking the door and propping, because it was on a weekend and they couldn't get a repair guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole place was full. You couldn't get a room anywhere in New Orleans. So I propped the door up against the frame and put a chair in front of the door, and I slept in the chair overnight, leaning against the door. Ended up costing me about $600 to
Oh
have
my
that
God.
door and frame and everything replaced.
Mom said
But
you had to
I
take
should have kept.
turns.
What's that?
Mom said you had to take turns, like keeping watch because there was no like because the door wasn't locked. You like slept for four
Yeah,
hours and then switched.
yeah. I think I slept there for 4 hours, and then she slept there, and
Mhm.
then at the end of the day, it's like, all right, get the hell out of here.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that was. But all in all, that was a right. Besides that, it was a good trip. It was
There's
fun.
always something eventful happening.
Always something. Yikes.
Oh my God. Chaos.
Yeah, it was interesting to say to the least. Right, our all of our vacations were definitely
Eventful.
yeah, they were interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No shortage
yeah.
of no shortage of stories there.
No, by no means. Yeah, that's okay. That's what makes the memories, right? At the end of the day,
It's
you
true.
know.
It's true.
I
That was
mean,
like
if
on
it
the
was
top of my
just a
list.
right, it was just a average daily no event. Eh,
Yeah. You wouldn't remember.
right, exactly. Yeah, a,
Yeah.
a point in time in life,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
As Aunt Francie would say, that's the spice of life.
that's right. That's the spice of life. Yeah,
Aunt Francie.
Francis. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
she's a
all right.
cutie. Um, so what are you going to do today after this in Michigan? How's the weather in Michigan today?
So today actually got really nice. I mean, it
Hmm.
went up to right the last few days we had not a lot of snow, but we had enough, and actually had to shovel snow, which not a fan of. But today it all melted, and I didn't have a chance to put away any of the summer equipment and get
Mhm.
out the winter equipment. So spent a good part of the day doing that, and
Nice.
it's now 4 o'clock. It'll be dark pretty soon, but
Mhm.
I've been working in the basement and doing some painting, and
There you go.
so far so good. Yeah, your
Nice.
mother went to work, so
Yeah,
yeah,
hang out, watch
yeah,
some TV or
so,
something. Sounds
yeah,
excellent.
Yeah. I'll find something to do besides watch the news and listen about COVID. I
Right.
had enough of COVID. Oh,
Seems never ending. But hopefully it won't prevent us from getting on the plane in a few weeks.
it better not, right? We got big plans, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's gonna be.
want to see Jeremy. Want to have some fun. I mean, it's going to be a short visit, but
Yeah, just
then
10
it
days.
gives us an opportunity to look forward to coming to France and
Yeah,
right, get your mother on a plane and
there you
get
go.
over there and see another part of the world.
Come on over.
That's what I
We've got
want.
lots of stuff here in
Yeah,
Europe.
man. Yeah. I
Got
want to have a baguette
donuts,
and
a
want to
baguette.
have a croissant and
Have a croissant. Exactly. It'll be good.
yeah,
You can have all the cheese that you could ever imagine.
yeah. Now that's up your mother's alley, all the cheese. So
Yeah, cheese and
yeah,
potatoes. We've got her
I'm
covered.
good with that. Cheese and what?
Cheese and potatoes. We have her completely covered.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Sounds
okay.
good. All right.
So
Well, this was an awesome first interview on the Fascinations podcast.
I loved it.
You're an
I'm so glad
excellent
we
guest.
can. Yeah, I'm excited to do it and glad to talk to you, child.
Yeah,
Right?
it's always good to talk to you too.
Yeah,
I talked
always
to you
be my
yesterday and
child.
I'll talk to you like this weekend, but we're pretending like we don't talk that often for the show.
Oh, well, plenty. It's all right. And there's plenty to talk about all the time. That's a good thing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. Yep. I got to talk to my kids a few times a week, so
As
keeps me grounded.
as you say, once I started talking, I never stopped. So
Yeah, well,
I even do it for my job.
yeah, that's okay. A Tom bomb helps a little bit.
Yes, I've got my mandolin.
There you go.
The
Yeah.
mandolin. It's inspired. It's partially inspired by the flavors of Cambodia.
Is that right?
Remember
Really?
at the hotel they had that tea that was like the ginger lime tea.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Just
you
put
got
some
just a
alcohol in it.
little extra zing to it.
Exactly. It's got the gin in there.
Aunt Faye said she was going to call Grandma and ask her, "Where do you get your podcasts from?"
Oh,
These are damn near 80-plus-year-old folks. They're podcasts. What the hell's a podcast?
they're so cute. Aunt Faye, she's so sweet.
So I went to put Aunt Faye's front door screen in.
Hmm.
She said, "I got to call your mother and ask her where she gets her podcasts from."
That's so cute. She's so sweet.
She's she's too cute. I love
Yeah.
her to death. No two
Yeah.
ways about it. Yeah, it's all
Right.
right.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, thanks for stopping by and hanging out. We enjoyed all your stories.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for being our first guest, our very honored guest.
It's my pleasure. Definitely. Believe me.
There's
There's a lot
hundreds
more
of,
to
yeah,
we
I
could
hope so. We can always have you back on another episode because every fifth episode is going to be an interview episode. So come back anytime.
well, you'll have to interview your mother next.
She said that she won't do it. I asked her. I told her I wanted her, and she's like, I don't like my voice.
Yeah, chicken shit.
Just gonna hear that you said that. She listens to the
Yeah,
podcast.
whatever. Yeah,
I'll have to ask the listeners if they have any questions for you, and then the next time that you come back, you can answer the listeners'
there you
questions.
go. I will.
We'll make this like a team effort.
All topics are open for discussion.
It's Tom. He's an open book. Thomas the open
Uh,
book.
Yeah, me and my Tom bomb.
All right. Well, cheers to the end of the
Cheers.
episode. Cheers.
Clink.
Clink. All right.
All right, honey. Keep your
Okay.
wits about you.
I will.
All right. All right, sweet
Just head
pea.
to the living room. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Love
Have a
you.
good night. Love you too.
All right. Be a good girl.
I will.
Bye.
Bye.